All right, a lot of stuff went down today, man, and then some. A lot of stuff went down. It's funny because I think that if this kind of thing went down like a year ago, everybody and their mother would be talking about it. But it's still everybody is talking about it right now. But it's just, I guess, because we've had yesterday when we were talking. Well, we did a members post, and we said like the hype has been all over the place because you get these false promises and other things, and there's been people talking about these briefings that were coming up. I was like, well, anything gonna come of them? Well, it looks like it's certainly possible that a lot of big information was indeed dropped, at the very least, in front of Congress. It was a hearing, not a hearing, but it was a briefing rather. And there's a ton of stuff that was dropped and a ton of things that were said that it is absolutely bonkers that, we're going to be hearing about this through a channel like mine or Vetted or the various Twitter accounts or social posts or people that are covering it in the community obviously are going to do. But this should be covered everywhere, as I say. But there's lots of different outlets that covered it. There's a good one that I saw that kind of broke down a lot of the things that happened. We'll play some of the video also, but here's some of the stuff that happened in the hearing. This one was by the Star. UFO congressional hearing bombshells as ex-NASA boss shares possible UAP not investigated. Understanding UAP Science, National Security, and Innovation was held on Thursday, where scientists had the chance to speak to U.S. Congress members about the evidence for aliens. The U.S. has been accused of hiding evidence of UFOs from the public during a bipartisan congressional hearing on Thursday, May 1st. A number of experts spoke to government officials from a science-driven perspective at the briefing on unidentified anomalous phenomenon, as it is being become more commonly referred to these days, about the possibility of alien life in the universe. The House Committee on Oversight and Accountability, with help from the UAP Disclosure Fund, held the event called Understanding UAP Science, National Security, and Innovation. Scientists told members of the Congress that they required a bigger part in the role of investigating UAPs and other explained phenomena. Key speakers included former Pentagon official turned UAP whistleblower Lue Elizondo and Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb. There's that picture by Lue showing a unvetted photo of an apparent UAP. Ex-Pentagon official Lue Elizondo held up an unvetted photo of what he said was a UAP taken by a civilian pilot. He went on to emphasize the uncertainty that military, commercial, and civilian aviators all face when they either witness or document UAPs in U.S. airspace. Do they report it to the FAA? Do they report it to NORAD? Maybe the Air Force? Once again, you would think this information would be important for somebody to look at, he said. If these are oversensitive military installations, whose are they? What are their capabilities? What is the intent? And there's a picture of Mike Gold, who's a former NASA associate administrator, revealed images also in the space agency's archives. Now, this is where it gets kind of hairy. Private sector is apparently using alien technology. A founding partner of technology investment company American Deep Tech claimed that private sector firms are building new inventions based on alien systems. Dr. Anna Brady Estevez, who once worked with NASA on space economic policy, said she had helped fund entrepreneurs with UAP-inspired inventions. She then said they were working on advanced energy. They were working on advanced communications. I funded companies working on what the entrepreneurs later described as UAP-adjacent or UAP-inspired technologies. However, 3 investors were forbidden to give away too much detail about their technology due to the researchers' classified nature. The ex-NASA boss claims UAP not investigated. Mike Gold, an ex-NASA associate administrator, revealed some stunning photos just sitting in the space agency's archives that have yet to be investigated as potential UAPs. Gold, who is now the president of civil and international space at tech company Redwire, shared a number of unexplained images taken by NASA on Mars and the Moon. One included another sighting of the so-called Tic Tac UFO, which recently appeared on the surface of Mars after several sightings over the Pacific Ocean. He asked, why are we not investigating this? It's certainly worth the effort to investigate it, and we're not doing it. Avi Loeb also spoke about fragments of metal that he and his colleagues recovered from the Pacific Ocean in 2023. The secret program recovered alien spaceships. Research physicist Eric Davis said that the U.S. government has been operating a secret program recovering crashed UFOs since the 1950s when Dwight Eisenhower was president. Davis worked as a subcontractor and then a consultant for the Pentagon UFO program since 2007. He claimed that the program began after the discovery of a crashed UAP in 1944. Since then, he said that a lot of the technologies recovered over the years from these wreckages have been secretly moved to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio without any congressional oversight or approval. In addition, project code names have changed every few years to cover up the Defense Department's actions. He once concluded that we couldn't make it ourselves after seeing some of the recovered materials himself. Huge disinformation campaign by the U.S. government. A retired U.S. Navy Rear Admiral blasted the U.S. intelligence community for a disinformation campaign and covering up alleged military sightings of UAPs. Tim Gallaudet said that the Navy has a trove of data on UAP from pilots and other personnel. Yet none of it has been released. Gallaudet called on the White House to share this information with the public and noted that he had just received the reports from the Navy members who had seen UAPs. That's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of stuff. And it's the thing that is important is that they're talking to people within Congress. They're talking to people who are trying to get this information. And these are people, Eric Davis, who's respected. And you get someone like a Tim Gallaudet, you have all these people who are talking. This is, to me, bigger information that has come out even since the stuff that Grush was talking about, because these are people, this is confirmed things that Eric Davis is saying. And he goes in a little bit further about gray aliens and all these other things that are here, the Roswell stuff. And if you're Burlison, who we'll see in a video clip in a second here, who has been, first of all, an advocate of trying to get to the truth and trying to find out conversation about what all of this is, hired David Grush, who said that he had heard and he had had conversations with people who we have recovered non-human stuff before. And Burlison has been very vocal in saying he doesn't necessarily believe in aliens and things of that nature and anything otherworldly, but he knows something is going on. He wants to get to the bottom of it. So kudos to him for being in the room. The question is, after hearing all this stuff afterwards, does his opinion start to change at all? Then we'll also get into the fact that Lue debuts this photo. And this is my question, and I assume it's an under oath thing. I don't know, but why didn't he show that photo at the hearing last time? Is it because there's more movement on it now? There's more things that are able to happen now. There's more support. There's a more support system right now. They have more of a team that is getting behind them. The administration changed over. It very well could be the answers. I don't know. But watch this clip here from Eric Davis talking to the Burlison and Luna and all of them. Here, check this out.
And so a long story short is that I came into contact with industry leaders, technical scientists, both active duty and later retired, as well as intelligence officers, generals, admirals, colonels, people who directed intelligence or human intelligence collection and analysis directorates at the DIA and the Central Intelligence Agency, who reached out to me to have me do some foreign UAP intelligence analysis and assessment. And so I had been exposed to so much in the classified realm that I can tell you definitively that they're there. The human race, basically the world's biggest governments, like the United States, our adversary China and Russia, at least as far as I know, have had the occasion to recover craft that have either landed or crashed or both in their territory or even outside of their territories, and have taken those back to the most sensitive of their programs that they've ever had. These programs are even more sensitive and more well hidden than the Manhattan Project was, or the modern nuclear weapons industry and the U.S. military and the Department of Energy programs to maintain and upgrade and modernize our nuclear weapons arsenal. And so this is one of the most well hidden programs. It is hidden from congressional oversight, and it always has been. And it was hidden by the action of President Eisenhower, who instituted presidential emergency action directives during his administration. These directives are not shared with Congress. They are classified. And when the Freedom of Information Act was instituted in the 70s, those are not subjected to the Freedom of Information Act request. These directives provide cover for actions that are associated with the with the retrieval of these vehicles and the scientific and engineering study of them. And that takes place within the industry. What happens is the Department of Defense offices, CIA offices, they create shell companies. They give a sole source contract to the shell company who passes the money to a selected group of defense industry firms. And those firms will take that contract money and turn them around and use that as internal funding. It's called internal research and development funds, which they give to their own people inside their company, their own employees, to do the reverse engineering and analysis and study of these recovered vehicles. And so this avoids all congressional oversight. It avoids the gang of eight. And it's one of the most clever techniques used to hide it. And as far as I know, only one 4-star general and one 3-star admiral were able to locate these programs. And that's about as much as I can say. They located the programs and they uncovered them. One got a lot of resistance and hostile reception and was told that he found who he was looking for. They were who they were suspected of being. Yes, they were a UFO, UAP, crash retrieval and reverse engineering program. The other one had a lot more political power behind him because of his stature as a 4-star general. And he was able to get into the program and use his authority and his access. I think they call that a super user. The super user has access to all wayne special access programs. So he had his capability to be able to look into that whole thing. I was fortunate to meet Dave Dresch at the behest of Jay Stratton. Dave was a NRO liaison officer to the UAP task force, and Dave was working for his boss at the NRO, which was situated in the second floor skiffs of the Aerospace Corporation building in Colorado Springs. And I was assigned to work at the Aerospace Corporation facility in Huntsville, Alabama, because I was supporting NASA's Space Nuclear Propulsion Program office. So Jay put Dave and Dave's boss and I together, and I briefed them for 2.5 days, just a week before COVID struck. And Dave took all of my classified and proprietary information of all the investigations I did at NIDS, AFRO, and working for help put up at ERTEC, and he took that data and ran with it. And what you now know, the aftermath of that was his classified whistleblower complaint to the IG of the IC. And so there is a there. We have had this program going on in various guises, various code names. Code names change roughly every 3 years. They often shift around due to major office and programmatic reorganizations from presidential administration, or maybe every 5 to 10 years in some cases. And so these things are very old. They come in and they've gone, but they're still around. And the amount of money that's been involved, I would say since the beginning in 1944 with the first recovery in Italy, of the U.S. Army's recovery of a craft that crashed in Italy back in 1933. The United States Army, when it invaded Italy and pushed the Third Reich out, they were able to recover that craft and bring it back to Wright Airfield. And all of the crash retrievals that have taken place generally on land have gone to Wright Airfield. The majority of the crash retrievals or recoveries of whatever situation it was take place in the maritime environment. And I'm not sure where that is going. I think they're probably also going to were in those days Wright Airfield. I don't know where they're going today though, because I've only worked on the legacy history of this part of it up until about the early 2010s. And ever since the end of the OSAP and the ATIP, I don't know where those operations are going on these days. So I think that's about it.
I mean, this is the biggest thing that has happened so far. This is the discussion of basically one of the guys who gave information to David Grush, and the whole reason why he became the whistleblower in the first place of some of this information that he got, talking to Congress and telling them, yeah, look, this is how they do this. This is some of the stuff. This is the way they hide some of these things. This is the program that they have. This is what they have. He's telling them all this information. This is one of the biggest things so far, where he's describing how the people that have been covering. He talked about the crash in Italy. He talked about the things that Grush talked about, and he described in detail on how some of the things are covered up, the people who have had access to it in general. And he's sitting there talking to Congress, people in Congress about this. And this is a major, major story. And as much as that was, that huge clip with all the stuff that was interesting, And it's funny because with Burlison, I can't really tell. I can't tell if he's like taking notes or checking emails. I don't know. Like he's typing, but then I'm like, oh, he's not even paying attention. Then he looks over. He looks like he's kind of intently looking, and he writes down. So I can't tell if he's telling notes or what he's doing. But he did ask a question, and he's talking about you, as I mentioned before, when it comes to alien races and things of that nature. This is the clip that I thought was just bonkers.
Are they multiple species? Are they like, what is their size? And how many are usually on a craft?
They're typically the multiple species. People are familiar with the Greys, the Nordics. People are talking about reptilians and insectoids. It's not that they're reptilian or insectoid, it's that they resemble to the recipient of reptile or insect type humanoid, because they have a head and 4 limbs and torso.
So large, small?
Human size, human scale.
And are there how many are accrued?
Well, the Greys I'm familiar with from investigating the crash at Corona, which is misnamed the crash at Roswell. It's not the crash at Roswell, it's the crash at Corona in Mexico. Those were Greys, those were 4 foot tall. And the Nordics are typically human size, probably, I've heard 5, 6 feet tall. And same with the people who mislabel reptilian and insectoid, they're roughly that height too. I haven't heard anything about anything 7 or 8 feet, 9 feet tall, of that nature.
So there you have Eric Davis, who has pretty much just told Congress that there are 4 alien species that we know of, and talked about the Greys. This is one of those things where you know that these guests, that these speakers that they're having coming in, they're vetting, and they're saying, okay, we want to hear from these people that we're going to find out all this information so we can investigate on, and we want people that we can take serious. Because if not, they're going to look like fools, right? So if they have somebody, if it turns out that Eric Davis is an absolute lunatic and that he's just making things up, and like you'll get the debunkers who are going to be calling him a lunatic and calling him all these different things. It's just old hat in the same way that, the typical people who you're going to see tweet about this are going to just start discrediting him and going after it. We know that's going to happen. But if they don't do the vetting, Congress that is, and find out exactly what it is that he does know, doesn't know, credible, they're going to look like fools, because they're putting their kind of careers on the line here too. Luna, Burlison, all of them. I said this many times over. This is as much about a spotlight for them as anything else too, because this has propelled them. And imagine if mainstream does actually cover this topic and it starts to actually unravel something. Like when you hear all the stuff that Eric Davis was talking about within the cover-up of that actual the program, the reverse engineering, all the stuff that David Grush had talked about and how he essentially got his information. And if mainstream started covering that, and it starts to actually start an investigation also to where they're starting to see these things that he's talking about actually were factual, and that they start to find out more information, as they said in that the other day when we did the video, where they're going to start to look certain places, and they're starting to get information, and they're getting information here. Now, I like the fact that Luna and Burlison are there. Now, I would love to see follow-up interviews. I'd love to do a follow-up interview, but I would love to see a follow-up interview with somebody, with Burlison or Luna, and ask them, what were your thoughts on what Eric Davis was saying? The other question I have now too, right, is Eric Davis going to testify in the next big hearing that they do? Let's get that under oath. Let's hear that. This is a briefing. They're getting a briefing of all these different things, but this is still a major briefing where we're telling people of Congress that there are 4 alien species. This is no longer a science fiction movie where they're like, oh, okay, yeah, UFOs could exist, and then we have a massive meeting, and there's members of Congress talked to some of the top scientists, and Jeff Goldblum went in there and he told him there are aliens out there. This is actually happening. This is actually happening, that you have people who are saying this. You also have Lue Elizondo showing this photo that we hadn't seen before that was apparently taken by a civilian. But to me, the most relevant thing here is the conversation that Eric Davis is having here, because this, to me, makes or breaks your career if as far as a politician goes. Because you could look, if other people are looking at this and also saying, let's say that, again, Eric Davis is a straight up, he's not telling the truth. Let's say he's out of his mind. If I'm in Congress and I'm opposing Burlison, and I'm looking, I'm going, this guy is spending his time talking to Alien Boy over there. He's out of his mind. They're all gone. Like John Lovitz in The Wedding Singer. He's losing his mind, and I'm reaping all of the benefits. And they'll use that. Well, what are Luna and Burlison doing? They're investigating alien species. But if this starts to really unravel, and they're on the forefront of information that comes out of some of these companies, these tech companies, these other places that Eric Davis calls out in that first video there, it's going to make their career. And then some. These are going to be people you remember for the rest of your lives, because they were the ones who helped bring this to the forefront. Now, the question is, does this move the needle? The answer is, this should move the needle. I'm always talking about in the videos, what does this really do in general? This should move something. This should get people talking. This should get you excited in a way that you were like, there's no new information. There's none of this. We've heard Eric Davis talk before. He talked to Jesse Michaels. He's talked to other people before. We've heard him speak before. It's not the first time he spoke. But this is a briefing that we're having here. And you had Avi Loeb there, who finally, again, these are all people that you've heard talk about these particular things on podcasts. I had Avi Loeb on, and he talked about the things that he found in the water and other things too. I'm not in Congress. I'm not surrounded by other people who are finally telling their stories on the record here to get this out there, to see this is the investigation. This is where you guys need to look. Let me help you out. That's what this was all about. This is a massive story. It's a massive story. The question is, what happens next? If this is the type of stuff, now this is where you would hope the influence of David Grush comes from, right? You hire David Grush, and David Grush says, you need to speak to Tim Gallaudet. You need to speak to Eric Davis. You need to speak to Lue Elizondo. You need to speak to Avi Loeb. These are the people you need to speak to. You got to have them. They were going to tell you certain bits of information, the things that, there was stuff that was seen on Mars that we're not covering. Talk to the guy from NASA. See what he said. Talk to these people. These are the people that are going to get you information and take you to places. These are some of the people that told me stuff, and now they're going to tell you stuff. That, to me, seems like the influence of David Grush. And it also shows that they are actually taking it seriously and doing what they said they were going to do. So this, to me, is a major win here today. I am so curious if you guys feel this way. Do you guys think that this was a major win? What do you make of the fact that here is a guy telling people inside of Congress, yes, there are 4 species of aliens, and they're out there, and they were recovered from the Roswell crash, or whatever the actual crash he calls it, but it's Roswell. Big stuff, right? Will he testify in this next hearing that they said is going to happen? What do you think? Put your thoughts in there. I got to know what you think. But I'm going to need some VIIA after this. So I'm going to tell you about VIIA. You're going to listen. You're going to get some to help out the channel, and then we'll be back here tomorrow to talk about more. But I got to hear the comments. I got to see what you guys are writing here. Make sure, let's get into it. Let's have a conversation. How big of a deal was this, if any? Let me hear you. I get very excited every time I get a chance to talk about VIIA. Man, I love VIIA. 420, it's right around the corner. There's no better time to elevate your wellness routine, whether you want to relax, recharge, refocus. VIIA has the perfect lineup for you. If you haven't tried them yet, you're really missing out. I've been telling you about them for months. They are the best. I use them all the time. The sleep gummies, oh my God. I'm telling you. I just told my buddy Chris about them. He's going to get them soon. Whether you need to unwind, refocus, boost your mood, VIIA is here to enhance your everyday and night. It's trusted by over 500,000 happy customers. VIIA is changing the game in natural wellness, blending powerful, high-quality hemp-derived ingredients to deliver real, effect-driven benefits. Whether you're looking to sleep better, that's me, Have better libido, improve focus, recover, or simply relax? VIIA has a tailored solution just for you. With products ranging from 0 to high cannabinoid levels, VIIA lets you fully customize your experience to fit your needs. Doesn't matter what you're looking to support. It could be your daily wellness routine, enhance focus and clarity, or unwind with deep relaxation. VIIA has you covered. I wonder if you wonder, what do I do? Where do I go? Where do I start? Take VIIA's product finder quiz to get personalized recommendations tailored to your needs. It can take less than 60 seconds to complete. So if you're 21 and over, treat yourself to VIIA's annual Spring 420 sale, Black Friday level savings up to 35% site-wide right now, up to 50% off packs and bundles, and get a free gift and more savings with your first order using our exclusive code DTE at the link in our description. Plus, enjoy free shipping on orders over $100. VIIA.